I hope I can record just a little bit of a classic Latin song. It didn't work yesterday, but maybe it works today. We'll see. See ya. Mhm. Okay, that's Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Green Day. Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Green Day in Latin. Whew, it was a rough day today. I'm out there on the bike, out there for like 15 miles. I mean, it took forever to accomplish the 15 miles. Now, I'm on a faster bike. Okay, a mountain bike pretty much is capped at 13 miles an hour. I got an old road bike, an old Cannondale, and that thing can get up to 20 miles an hour, and it can maintain its speed at 15, 16 miles an hour with relative ease. There's a danger in that. I got a I got a gravel bike, as I've said before, and one of the major reasons that I really like the gravel bike is because it would not go over 28 miles an hour, even on a downhill. Because what happens is people who are drivers, the angle at which they see you, if you're really close to them, the angle at which they see you is so fast that they can't, it's just like a motorcycle. The angle is so fast that they can't really determine what's going to go on. You know, it's all a blur to them. And of course, it's a blur to the cyclist also. But so this time, I'm riding and I'm on a main thoroughway, and I have the absolute right of way, no doubt about it. I'm not necessarily in a hurry, but I'm maybe going 12 miles per hour maximum. All of a sudden, the lady on a motor scooter just doesn't yield at the stop sign. She had the stop sign. She doesn't yield at the stop sign. Nothing. She just goes straight through the intersection. Well, I try to swerve, whatever. Miss her. Couldn't miss her. Boom. So there I am, just flat on my back. Well, I had a really severe leg workout yesterday, so my legs are just stiff. Then my back just stiffened up. And right there in the middle of the street, I could not move. And you're not supposed to really get up quickly anyway when you fall like that, because if you break a bone or something, you can only aggravate it. So a guy comes over and he's attempting me to help me get up, which he really shouldn't be doing, but he doesn't know, but he's doing the best that he can. And so then all of a sudden he says to me, "Si tu no estaba yendo muy recio, tú no tienes este problema." Yeah, if you had not been going so fast, you would not have had this problem. The speed limit was posted at 20 kilometers per hour. I was going right under 20 kilometers per hour. I had the full right of way. Okay, the point of this is this. In Latin America, in Latin America, ustedes, gavachos y gringos, no tienen derechos. Everything down here works based upon family. You got family, you got a little bit of pull. Even if your family is poor, you got some pull. And every time something happens, they're going to attempt to blame the deep pockets. So they're going to look at me, hey, it's your fault. You got more money than she does. You got more money than I do. And like the guy, he went away complaining, I had to go someplace. I had to go do some work. So I was in a hurry. So I got up as best I could and got moving. So I heard the guy say to another guy in the corner, yo ayúdale, y él no da mi nada. Él no da mi nada. I'm like, what was this guy thinking? What was even his motive for even coming over there to offer any assistance? And what's that word in Spanish? Pupancia? That was what he was interested in, was pupancia. Not interested in whether or not my back was broke or my bike was messed up or and he didn't say anything to the young lady. Nothing. Nothing. Not like, hey, you ran the stop sign, you're somewhat responsible. This man could be injured. I mean, try to make some amends. Nothing. Okay, so that's the flip side down here. That's the flip side. You on a mountain bike, you're on a road bike. It's safe. It's safer cuando tú consideras a los secuestros. Okay, it's safer that way. It's safer when you consider, can you get away, from a guy on foot or even some people in a car. It's safer. You can't get away from a guy that's on a BMX bike. You're not gonna get away from that guy. But there aren't that many BMX bikes out there. And even then, if the guy is on a BMX bike, he still has to ride it. So I mean, you practice well riding a mountain bike. It's even if the person has a motorized vehicle, it's still difficult to catch up with you. But what I'm saying is that I'm talking about the flip side. So for every rule, there's a reason why the rule can be violated. Now, so I'm saying, hey, learn Spanish slowly. Take your time. Take your time, because there's a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of pitfalls. It's not all about accent. It's not all about vocabulary. It's not all about trying to infer culture. Now, this whole time, from the time that the lady hit me to the time that I got up off the bike, I got up off the ground and got moving, I didn't say anything to anyone. I just listened because I knew that I was in a vulnerable position. So the only thing that I could do was listen. You never do know who's coming at you. You already took the L. The lady already, ran the stop sign. There already was a crash. Now you got to prepare yourself for whatever. You know, it's kind of like, a Western. Somebody sees a wounded dove, somebody's going to rush in and break the other wing. I mean, that's just the way it is. So you have to listen. Listen. Don't. It's not like where you start screaming about your rights. Hey, do you have insurance? This is my right. You blew the stop sign. Blah 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 blah. Mm-mm. You don't want to say any of that. You want to look at the person and look at what their mood is, and let them make all of the offers. If they make no offers, accept it. Accept it. Because once the Mexican police get involved, you can guarantee that you're probably not going to get a fair shake. And you can also probably guarantee that the people in those uniforms are not policemen. So what you want to do, scrape yourself up off the road, take that L, move on. Even if your back is broke or whatever, don't get into an ambulance. Don't get into an ambulance unless you know exactly what ambulance you're getting into. Know where you're going, know what you're doing. You're going to be a lot better off just to go back to a friend to confidence place and then make connections with emergency services or whatever. But trying to do that on the fly, down here, you never know what you're dealing with. That's one of the major reasons why you got to be able to run that 10-minute mile. You got to have a VO2 max that's in the top 10, top 15%. You got to be able to bench press your body weight. You got to be able to squat to about 20, 30, 40 pounds above your body weight. You got to have reflexes. Somebody comes at you, you got to have enough reflexivity that you can ward them off. You know, guy, even if the guy has, even if he has a knife, even if he has a gun, if your reflexes are sharp and you can real quick, you're not trying to hit the guy. First movement, right here. You just want to make sure that the guy can't see. Second movement, go low. Any part in the lower body. Blind, go low, get the hell out of there. Run. You know, don't try to be a hero. Now, the only way that you can do that and employ all of that is if you're listening. If you're running around talking, and especially talking about your perceived rights, you're just going to get mowed down. It's time when things like that occur in Latin America, it's time for the quick getaway. You want to get up off of the ground and roll. Get up off of the ground and roll. Now, to show you exactly what I'm saying, when I got up off the ground, and I had to block traffic for about 4 or 5 minutes to get up. Once I got up and got rolling, then all of the cars that were backed up, they were all beeping at me, and I was on the right side of the road. They were beeping at me, and they considered that I was at fault, and I was the obstruction. They were flying into road rage, and I was the victim. Okay, so for every single rule, there's an exception. The mountain bike rule, there's an exception to that rule. There's an exception. So, I mean, you know, like a doctor said to me one week, he said, you're riding around in this desert on a bike. He said, you got to be one tough bastard. And that's what you got to be. You got to be one tough bastard. I mean, because you're outnumbered and anything goes wrong, you cannot say, hey, it's not my fault. You are at fault just by virtue of your presence. See? Just by virtue of your presence. There's no hate crime in Mexico. You can't go to a Mexican judge and say, hey, you know, yo soy un brasileiro, y porque yo soy un brasileiro, eles estavam contra mim. You aren't going to get anywhere with that. They don't give a damn about that. You can't say, oh, hey, they're discriminating against me. That doesn't fly down here. They don't give a damn about that. That has nothing to do. That is not a mitigating circumstance in their mind. In their mind, that's an aggravating circumstance. So, you know, you listen to the U.S. Congress talking about human rights and this and that and that and this and that and that and the other. What they aren't going to cover is how many human rights do you have in Latin America. Something happens, you can kiss your ass and your human rights goodbye.